Yes, you read that right. Today we're talking about the number one credit sweep secret to removing virtually anything from your credit report. Now, what is anything? Well, you can remove collections, debt buyers, late payments, credit cards, student loans, medical charge-offs, bankruptcies, evictions, and more. As long as it's not an actual inquiry and it is an account, then this can be used on it to remove that account. And we're dealing with two very specific laws. Now, before we get into how to remove virtually anything using these two laws, first thing that I want for you to do is smash the like, subscribe if you haven't done so, and if this is something that you just don't want to do, head over to my740.com, schedule a call with me, and I will see if I can help. All right, so here's the goal. Our goal is to become not worth it for banks and credit bureaus, obviously, right? They can either remove our bad credit or pay us damages or both. And fortunately, you're going to make it known quickly that they will find it much more advantageous to simply remove the bad mark and quickly. Now make sure you stay to the end of the video because you're going to get all of these dispute letters that go with this process as well as step-by-step instructions, all right? Now, there's a couple of things you are going to need to succeed with this. Obviously, your credit report, right? Everything has to do with timeliness with this. And yes, you are sending everything out via certified mail. So you do need access to some sort of postal service, either physically going to the post office or using a site such as LetterStream, all right? Now, it is going to be certified with return receipt. So you also need a tracker. What that means is you need to track with like a calendar or task manager, something else to keep track of dates and reminders, okay? So here's law number one. All right. FCRA section 623A3, responsibilities of furnishers of information to consumer reporting agencies. Let's read it together. Duty to provide notice of dispute if the completeness or accuracy of any information furnished by any person, meaning like a data furnisher, to any consumer reporting agency is disputed to such person by a consumer. The person may not furnish the information to any consumer reporting agency without notice that such information is disputed by the consumer. Now, what's the important part here? Well, you see it highlighted with pink text, without notice that such information is disputed by the consumer, right? This is why I call it the key. This is the key. Let's just go back and look at that, all right? That is the key, without notice. So they have 30 days to insert this notice, and you are first disputing with the actual data furnisher, not the bureaus. And why are we doing that? Well, the bureaus are much more likely to enter this required notice of dispute, all right? Now, here's law number two. FDCPA section 8078. All right, 807, false or misleading representations, communicating or threatening to communicate to any person credit information which is known or which should be known to be false. I love how they put should be known, right? Including the failure to communicate that a debt is disputed, right? Again, most important part highlighted in pink, that a disputed debt is disputed, okay? So now what? Well, the big key here is that they're required to contact the credit bureaus on your behalf and to make sure that they add a sentence. It's really simple. You're going to see it in the comments within 30 days that says that you disputed the negative item in question. Now, as simple as this seems, you would probably say, well, Kristen, they're probably going to add this like what, most of the time? Well, no, honey, they don't. They don't, especially right now when they are literally doing everything to get rid of you. They're ignoring people. They're lying to people. They're saying they didn't get letters when they absolutely did. Again, the bureaus are more likely to add it, and this is why we are going directly to the data furnisher first, right? So the sentence, again, would appear something like this. Consumer has disputed the validity of this item. Or it might just say disputed by consumer, right? They almost never add the sentence. I repeat, over 90% of the time, they do not add it, and certainly not in time, okay? So this is why it works. Sometimes they'll do it within 60 days, sometimes 45. Well, that's too bad for them because by law, they have to do it within 30 days. We have our credit report proving that it's not there, and that's all you need. We simply prove that they didn't do it within 30 days and that they'll be liable to you for damages up to $1,000 per occurrence. Now, before you get all hyphy on $1,000 per occurrence, let's go over a couple of things. So we have an important note here. It's important to note that you're allowed to dispute anything on your credit report. Technically, it doesn't matter if it's something that you know to be true and accurate, right? The responsibility is on the creditor to maintain accurate records reports and to follow the law within the required timeframes, obviously, right? And again, they have 30 days to add this from the date of first receipt of your dispute letter. And the other great things, proof of this and proof of that, and I want for you to do this, that, and the third, and prove that you have the right to blah, blah, blah. And you know what? Like I said, it's all shade. I don't care about any of these things. Most of them were digitally signed, okay? What I care about is the very simple fact that, number one, we're going to become a pain in the butt. All they have to do is, to make us go away is to delete it. That's it. And number two is they don't know that we're going after the notice of dispute, and that's why this works. Now, part two is very similar to part one, except for we're dealing directly with the credit bureaus, right? And so before we move on to part two, we're only going to implement it if part one has failed. All right. And you're going to find all of the letters to the creditors, to collectors, and to the bureaus, and even for small claims as part of this. And I'm even going to give you a little bit of a preview here, but let's go on to part number two, FCRA section 623. Okay. And the big key here again is that the credit bureaus are required to add this sentence to your credit report within 30 days. Okay. So they almost never do. Again, 9 times out of 10, they'll not do it in time if they do it. And the same thing applies as it did in part one. We're simply going to prove that they didn't do it within 30 days, and then they're going to be liable for damages. All right. So again, before you get all hyphy about, winning $1,000 each time, what if you told them they could keep this $1,000 and instead just permanently remove your bad marks? What do you think they're going to do? Well, they're going to remove your bad credit mark, right? They don't want to pay you. They don't want to put money into this. They don't want it to be publicized. They don't want to send it to a legal team. All they have to do is have an employee go into the system and boop, boop, boop. All right, it's been deleted. And if by some miracle both the credit bureaus and your creditors do add the disputed sentence to your reports within the 30-day time frame, there's another avenue. And keep in mind that 99% of the people reading this will never need to resort to this, but you can go and file small claims. Most of the time they're not going to even show up, and if they do, you're still going to win, because let's just say you do go to court, you're going to win because you're not going to be there to argue that the debts are true. You're going to be there to argue that the creditor failed to abide by the FCRA and or FDCPA when the notice of dispute was not entered. And the result is filing fees reimbursed and removal of the negative items, right? So here's the deal. Like I said, I'm going to give you a preview of the disputes. They're all after this slide right here. Okay. So we have letter one, and all you're going to do is click on this cute little pink button, and it's going to give you letter one. And as you can see, there are instructions at the top of each dispute letter. And then we have letter two, we have letter three, so on and so forth, right? And again, they're all going to go out certified mail, return receipt, so that you can prove when you sent it and all of that kind of stuff. All right. So there are the other letters here and information on how to do small claims. But if you follow this, you're not going to have to go to small claims court, especially right now. All right. So if you want to remove these things from your credit report and you want it to be permanent and you want to use these two laws and you just don't want to have to do the regular credit repair method, or maybe factual disputes is too difficult for you, then hey, that's totally fine. I get it. All right. It took me 10 years to get to the place that I am currently at. So I don't expect you to all of a sudden overnight understand how to do this yourself. Right. So if you want me to do it for you, head over to my740.com. Or if you want to access this, use the link in the description and you can go access this entire presentation, including the disputes. And that is it. I will see you tomorrow. I hope you have a great one. And please make sure to stay safe, smash the like, again, subscribe if you haven't done so, and hit the bell for notifications so that you actually know when another video comes out. And I will see you later.